You know, I think we're both making a new friend. This Nick has developed into a wholehearted laugh. It seems so. That was all it took to check off another event. You're prepared for the evening and can relish the hours before then. As the skyscrapers got shorter and shorter, until they vanished, and the sounds of traffic became a distant hum, drowned out by the rhythmic waves of the sea, you told Baxter about yourself. You finally learned your pets' names and general existence. You got to explain your career in detail and what it was like employing yourself. And you described the place you were living now, that you were no longer living in your parents' home. Baxter listened with keen interest.
You're very good.
Now that is impressive. Thanks. I think it's my turn to ask a question about you. That's fair. Go on. Right. My question is, why in the world are you here? Of all places. You could have lived anywhere. I don't get it. That was the genuine truth. Even as an adult, Baxter could confound and mystify you. The serene smile that had been on his face for the past 10 minutes held. Baxter revealed his secrets as smoothly as he normally avoided them. The way I saw it, after graduating, I had 3 choices of what to do. At first, I could live in the state I associated with my family, such as Oregon, where I grew up, or Colorado, or Colorado, where we often took vacations. Second, I could pick a state I had no experience with whatsoever and move to at random. Or third and finally, I could live in a state I had inhabited already, and that I could associate with my independent life. That would be Virginia and California.
Of course.
Of course, the third option held the most appeal, in my humble opinion. And while Virginia has its positives, I enjoy its forests and the distinctly changing seasons. I never quite formed an attachment, so it was so incredibly far from everything I was used to. I certainly couldn't commit to being an East Coaster. Baxter flicked his wrist out casually. It was the wide expanse of you both. So that was how I found myself returning to the dazzling coast of SoCal. This particular location was intended to be only a starting point. I was coming from the complete other side of the country, and I at least knew I enjoyed the area. I expected to relocate once I had my bearings. It wasn't my intention to linger where I might not be welcome. But who could have guessed that it was hard to pack up and leave everything behind once you had say things such as an actual account in your own name, and a real career tying you down. Weeks passed, then months, and then, perhaps inevitably, I came face to face with one of the reasons I'd developed such a positive outlook on this state to begin with. There he paused. You didn't know how to feel it. Or, if you should. So you didn't. You let it remain. He smiled, and ultimately, Baxter continued.
You know,
it never ceases to amaze me. California is directly beside Oregon. I could practically walk there if I was industrious and stupid enough. Despite that, being here is a wholly different experience than what... Despite that, being here is a wholly different experience than what I had being raised in the neighboring states. Sometimes, as if I'm still a tourist, I don't belong here. And everyone who passes by can smell the otherness on me.
to be honest,
Other days, I have the confidence to think I found my own place in the world. The eye contact between you and Baxter locked meaningfully when he spoke that line. Proud about this long story, I said in the end, I made the right choice. He definitely did. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if you stayed in Virginia.
perfect.
I do adore when we agree. A pleasant breeze passed over the sea. It came to ruffle your hair. You breathed in the salty air, letting it warm your body. Meanwhile, Baxter sorted it out. had been pointedly ignoring how close you are to the sea, but his discomfort was swiftly replaced with a self-aware smile.
How wonderful.
Though, as ever, I'm here paying an absolute premium for a park I do not even want. The stunning seaside view. Yeah, you've kept your feet dry. Exactly. Regrettable, isn't it? Would you want to change that? We're already here. From the keen way he grinned, you got the impression that the two of you had been on the same mind before you done a thing. You did adore when you agree.
So?
I take it you're still partial to the ocean? Absolutely.
I see.
I see. Baxter whispered, his eyes fixed on the endless blue that surrounded you. Well, I should confess, I am tired of having so many regrets. Especially ones that are difficult to avoid, as 70% of the planet's surface, and doing so in California, no less. I think I fully read that. Oh well. Baxter lifted up a lighter and moved one black shoe, and the matching black sock. He repeated the process with his other side. Then he took a hold on the two sets of footwear in a single hand. He used the free hand to roll up his suit legs just above his ankles. He was making a clear statement of intent, and Baxter Ward would be going in that water, but not deeply. He went further. In a sunset bird. You took your shoes off to join him. Your movement caught Baxter's attention. He waited for you to finish before forging ahead. The two of you stepped off the sturdy concrete path, shifting onto the sands of the shore. Baxter could have gone on to his tiptoes before positioning. Baxter had gone to his tiptoes before positioning himself in a dark, wet patch. He could wait for the ocean to come the rest of the way to him. It was a compromise. You literally don't have to go in with just your toes. Giggles bubbled up between you and Baxter like a foaming wave. This is rapid progress. 10 times greater than dipping in a single toe. On that cue, the ocean repeated its perpetual motion and rushed over to the beach. The cold water shot past you and Baxter, swallowing a pool around your feet. Instinctively reached out to take hold of your wrist. There was something incredibly nostalgic about that moment. You were patient as he was floundering in a few inches of water. It was a sensation Baxter had never gotten used to. Slowly, cautiously, Baxter let his grip on the arm slip. He stood on his own two tiptoed feet. He maneuvered around the pads of his feet with his heels still lifted.
Hey.
Callie, did you know I almost took ballet classes rather than ballroom? No way, Baxter. You're getting too clever. He had somebody he liked who did ballet. Chew, or Autumn, whatever you want to call him.
Honestly.
That's not true. I only ever wanted to do formal ballroom dancing. However, I'm not pretending when I say the dance school I learned at did also have ballet lessons, and that I often caught bits and pieces of them. In an attempt to display what he had picked up from watching the other classes, and use the fact that he was already on his toes, Baxter made a short leap. After making a splash, he attempted a pirouette in wet sand. Baxter swallowed barely halfway before getting stuck. At least he didn't tip over. For someone who acts exceedingly professional, you can be so silly. Now that is a fact. Baxter halted his frolicking to chuck his shirt back into his pants. It started coming loose when he took another flying skip. He was having fun. And your summer stroll continued on, though now side by side along the shore. You took the spot that was a row deeper. You took the spot in a row that was deeper in the water. Baxter's confidence buoyed with you in between him and the vastness of the ocean. Waves came and went, tickling his feet, and he didn't flinch. Though it might not have been the looking that actually did it. Baxter had graduated from clinging to your wrist to properly holding your hand. That was likely the stronger lifeline. Soon Baxter was walking on the whole of his feet, becoming more confident with every step. Letting out a content sigh, Baxter made a declaration.
Well,
I still won't go swimming today, but perhaps I'll get there eventually after all. I hope you will be there to see that crowning achievement. I better be! Don't go without me! Thank you, Callie. On and on, you and Baxter move forward together. At lunchtime, Baxter suggested you get a meal at the ocean restaurant, where you first reunited. He was surprisingly sentimental, considering what a cynical teenager he used to be. But considering how often he'd walked down memory lane, just over the last few days, maybe you should start experimenting Baxter of today. Besides, that you were happy to do it. That first day, Baxter had pledged the scene before dinner had even started. Having a make-up meal would be a good way to bring things full circle. Luckily, you managed to snag a table without too much wait. Baxter got a late black coffee and a salmon entree. The two of you indulged in an entirely unrushed meal. But as much as you saved the time, eventually you had to return home, so you'd have time to finish packing before the next outing. Baxter was even inspired to finally clean up those strewn about clothes from the morning of the wedding. It might have taken him a while to get around to do that, but no one could say he did a poor job. Baxter's closet was neater and more organized than a high-end formal wear store by the time he was done. And you got your own workload taken care of too. As the sun began to set, it was time to go see your friends. And not yours, in that they were yours alone, but the friends you shared with Baxter. He left the tidy apartment and went straight to the suburbs, parking in his usual spot across the street. The both of you exited his car. You ambled up towards the front of the house. Then, Baxter gave the doorbell a prompt ring. The person who answered the door at the Adams household couldn't have been either of the Adams. You knew that. What you hadn't expected was a 6'4" figure of Cove Holden. But there was no complaints. You and your longtime companion immediately shared beaming smiles. It couldn't be helped that you were happy whenever you got to see each other. And that was the same for him. Hi, Callie. What's up? Funny running into you here. But since Cove got the reward of being the first to greet you, he also had to take on the responsibility of greeting the other guests who had arrived. Feverishly, he glanced at Baxter. Hey, thanks for coming.
good day.
Hello, Cove. Thank you for allowing me to attend. Yeah, so, come in. Cove punctuated that with a toe of his head, totally foregoing any explanations or even acknowledgments of the strange circumstance. And then he turned his whole body to go. He followed him into your former abode. Inside you found an even bigger surprise than you had at the entryway. This friendly get-together was, in fact, an actual party. The round leather couches and matching wooden coffee table had been removed from the room entirely. There was also the addition of twinkling fairy lights strung around along the walls. At the center of it was Terry and Randy, looking pleased with themselves. Those two had to have been masterminds for whatever was happening. Baxter glanced to Cove, confused but hopeful that the green-haired man might have only been a henchman and more willing to spill the plan. Cove's smile had gone lopsided, and he merely shrugged one shoulder. Ta-da!
Woo!
It's an appreciation party. You know, for everything you did for Jude and Scott's wedding. Terry respectfully saluted your arrival, like you were fellows in arms.
Very nifty.
We couldn't have done without you. Right, and Terry helped a ton too. He did it even more than me, I think.
Well,
But I already have a different thank you for that. Yep. Terry draped one arm around his darling girlfriend and used the other to make an arc through the air. She's gonna take me to a bunch of beaches down the coast of California. It's gonna be historic. Oh. You're going on a trip. Baxter was attempting amazement with his reaction, and then knowing amusement can be fully removed from his tone. Neither could the hint of a chuckle. It came across like a teacher being impressed that the student had told him 10 came after 9. Miranda squeezed her eyes shut and grasped Terry's hand. Female, thank you. That is wonderful. Thanks. Anyway. No one wanted to make the evening about her. And because she was embarrassed, Miranda swiftly changed the subject.
well,
You can both enjoy yourselves now. Kelly did all the work for free, and Baxter, you didn't get to enjoy the ceremony or reception since you were running them. We really wanted to do at least a little something to make up for it. You're speaking for the 3 of us, who have actually helped with this entire event. Isn't that amazing? Hey, I'm not a party person, but I try as much as I can. You certainly do, Cope. We appreciate you as well.
Yeah.
Also, there's food. Sorry there's no homemade cupcakes. We got other stuff though. No cupcakes? Man, this party is a bust, you teased. Not so fast. We are allowed to eat some of the leftover groom's cake. That is, in fact, an oversized cupcake at the end of the day. But don't touch the wedding cake. They're saving it for themselves. And you wouldn't want to see Scott steamed. After all the drama with that thing, those guys grew attached. Okay, we're back on track here. Baxter's voice softened. His disbelief was honest that time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Getting your own appreciation party. It definitely caught you off guard, initially. But honestly, you should have known that group would have something up their sleeves. They had been addicted to the planning party life. And they always returned your kindness in turn. Baxter should have too, now that you thought about it. This was already the second party these people had thrown for his sake. Miranda ended the train of thought with a clap of her hand. He was smiling sweetly.
so,
If you want, we could get dressed again and make it a fancy party. It wouldn't be any trouble. There's enough time to do it and come back. And I know there's a lot of chances to do something like that. Baxter's gaze darted to you as yours did the same towards him. His mouth hung open slightly as you shared a sound look. Then you laughed, freely and fluently. The trio of celebration conspirers was suddenly at a complete loss. I apologize. Baxter covered his mouth with a hand, realizing belatedly that his behavior was not quite gentlemanly. This is genuinely thoughtful, and it means a great deal to me that you went to this effort. The humor is here, well, the truth is, Kelly and I already had that same conversation. And we already gave ourselves an opportunity to dance in formal attire again. It was just last night, in fact. What? Your friend group erupted in unison, even faster than when Baxter gave a formal sign through the text. Terry threw his hands up passionately.
Yeah.
You know how fast we pull this together? Not fast enough, apparently. It hasn't even been 2 days.
Not bad.
Correct? We don't waste time, I'm afraid. And Baxter's cool answer dropped Terry's arm, and his jaw for good measure.
No way.
There's a limit. You cannot be that much of a social butterfly. Be a snail sometimes, B-man. Miranda gently took hold of Terry's shoulder. It grounded him enough to stop sputtering about insect mouthfuls, and then she took her own turn at asking questions. Where did you go? Baxter slipped his fingers down in his smirking mouth. He gestured the hand with a casual flick of the wrist. We have a place. Wow. Exactly. You hadn't expected them to arrange it. Exactly as you hadn't expected them to arrange a celebration in your honor. Terry and Miranda and Cove never could have guessed that you and Baxter would have had your own little party for two.